if that works for folks. When they were setting this up this morning, I asked for two things. I said, please make sure that I have all the light on me and none of the panelists do. So the sun has delivered on that. And I also, all right, so Mohammed, I'd love to turn to you now. So far in this conversation, so far in this question and answer, we've largely focused on data that you might term as uncontested. Now, your organization works with data that I would not consider to be uncontested all of the time. And one way to say that is that you work on data that touches on genocide. And I think it's fair to say that if there is a genocide, the aggressor likely does not want their actions to be publicly and widely shared. So let's touch on that. Let's dive into this kind of contested information space. What has been your experience handling sensitive data on our current web? And how have decentralized technologies potentially offered you advantages when you're working with contested information?
Right, thank you very much. To give you a context, of course, I did mention since yesterday, we are dealing with one of the most persecuted and vulnerable minorities and illiterate as well at the same time, which been brainwashed and said that anything they have or exist like document or videos, these are all useless. And a lot of Rohingya who had a lot of these documents of historical documents and ID from 1960s, 70s, they're dished either in Burma or it's been, prone to flood or fire, and so and a lot of them are destroyed. Since 2012, we started this digitization process where we've been bringing awareness that these documents are extremely valuable because people thought that we are stateless, these documents are not valuable, and people have been taught. And it is extremely, tiring to tell people to preserve and go physically to houses, give their consent and so on and so forth. Till 2016 and 17, when accelerated genocide happened, where a number of people are killed and people have smartphones to record that live burning of human beings and so many atrocities. And we started to tell people these are extremely valuable data that we need to collect, and then we don't have internet back in Burma, that they need to so we had to smuggle about 90,000 phones into Burma from Bangladesh, and also SIM cards that has internet data. Some of them, the more farther you go from the border, the less connection you have. So when all these data have been collected and many people died or killed, and then the only way we could do is through Facebook or through any other, and then Facebook deletes all those data, and those activists, I'm one of them as well, taken my page down and our organization page down, all this because in the name of violated the community rules and so on. So much of data has been lost, and then we started to collect all this, archive it offline, and which is also not a solution for many other people. That's where I started to look into decentralization of this data. What can we do? How can we do? So decentralized in a way, we started in 2016 and 17 not using directly, there's not enough mature technology, so we put it in a way, we put some in Google Drive, we put some in Dropbox, we put some here, somebody keeps a copy, another keeps a copy, so we track record of this. And then we started to build this archive called RGA, Rohingya Genocide Archive, where we put in different places, and we have different catalog. We put metadata in one place and we put the data in another place. That's how we've been. And it's been so instrumental when Gambia has filed a case in ICJ against Myanmar. So we became very instrumental to provide over 600 video that is so graphic that compares to genocide. And our website has been down, it's been attacked on multiple front and so on. So that's what I believe, that decentralization would help in many ways of storing this in a more sustainable way, which we're still searching for. There is one aspect, of course, the other aspect, which is the cultural documentation and cultural data of Rohingya, which is a huge archive itself. The history, the tradition, the culture, the song, the food, and the map, And one of the sad things is that Arakan, the land Arakan, most of the villages has a Rohingya name. Today, if you can Google, if you look at the Google map, most of the Rohingya names have been removed from there by the Burmese military, or I don't know how, but it's totally gone. So we are trying to reconstruct that map also with the Rohingya name and village name, ripping off all those. So yeah, since Filecoin and Internet Archive, we've been working for last 6-7 months to put all number of data that include Rohingya, all the open data as well, which is the language, the cultural aspect of it. But the genocide, we're still considering what could we put, what cannot put, what is sensitive, what is not. But of course, we figure out that maybe catalog would be a good point to display, not the actual data, the catalog, how many atrocities, rape been committed, villages been burned and killed, and so on and so forth. So yes, it's still we are in learning process in many ways. But one thing that I want to say is that technology will evolve time to time, but I'm not here. I'm not going to wait until technology perfects. I'm still going to scrape it, everything that we have, and whether centralized or decentralized, collect it, and then we'll find a solution along that line.
Yeah, that's great. You know, that last line there, I couldn't take the notes fast enough about not waiting until the technology has perfected itself. You don't have the luxury of waiting like that. And I'd love to return to that when we're talking in the second phase of the discussion.
Which is creating a decentralized, virtual heritage place like Arakan, where all the centralized institute are removing names, our ancestral land names and all other things, to create and put all the data that we have and other have in their repositories, and create this multi-layer virtual Arakan, which the only way we could connect maybe in the future, because since most of them are driven out of the land, which is where the atrocities happen, where are all these cultures, what type of things they used to have, what are the languages, so more sustainable. And I believe through decentralization and more sustainable way, this could be achieved, and we are on that path. And I'm happy to to take any feedback or any support on building that.
Thanks, Mohammed. So as you know, based on my red-green color blindness, we either have 5 hours or 10 minutes left for the Q&A.
The decentralization inherently kind of makes it more widely available. So how do you kind of square that?
I think we don't have the time to go into all the archives, so we have separated different archives. One of them is called RGA, Rohingya Genocide Archive, that is totally private, only metadata available on a basic data on the request of accountability, such as like ICC and ICJ. We release those, and sensitive information, any information that link directly to any human being existing. So we have a number of protocol that we are working on with multiple international agency. One of them is Witness as well. Of course, in terms of historical and other data, that what we try to collect is cultural, language and heritage and all this. So that what we are looking into, making it public at the same time. But not necessarily if you put in a decentralization that you cannot hide. So there's way you can put in a private wallet, which we have tried on multiple blockchain on a specific data, but the data can be pulled out. Of course, there are difficulties to do that. As I told, that we don't have the luxury, to get all these things in line, but we are working on it as much as. So there's a lot of things is based on policies, what to give access, what not to give access, so that we don't do harms, so that that person is not double victimized, and so on and so forth.
Thank you, Mohammed. I think you might have done a better job of keeping us on time than I have, so I appreciate that.